Hey, my name is Zachary, and I'm interested in art, interested in beauty, generally speaking. I always really like this process of seeing a work of art and noticing what is beautiful in it. And there's this feeling that I feel, the appreciation aspect, the feeling of, I don't know how to call this, but when I see the beauty in a work of art and it seems to be imprinted onto my mind, I have the feeling of it as the beauty replicates into my mind. That is, I think, a description of what the process of appreciation is. It's cool to experience a work of art, it could be music or visually speaking or any other art form, medium. It's interesting enough to even notice when experiencing a work of art and something is replicated into the mind. What is it that gets into the memory, or what is it that gets into the mind? Sometimes it's all of it. Sometimes it's just certain parts of it. Sometimes it's the theory behind it. All of these different ways of appreciating a work of art, different things that could be replicated. And you have knowledge of something within a technology, for example, like if I take my phone and I open it up and I can see that there's an antenna and I can tell that there's some code within it to decode GPS signals. So we have an antenna that can read GPS signals, and then you have some code that can interpret it. That could be taken exactly and put into another phone. And I don't have to do anything else with it. I don't have to have any theory behind it. I can just take exactly what it was and put it into a different context in a different phone. And it will work well because that knowledge can be exactly transferred into something else. But sometimes it's good to have the knowledge behind the knowledge that you have there. You don't need to have, you want to have the full theory behind, like, how does the antenna work? So maybe you'd want to adjust the antenna to make it fit into a different phone in a different way. Maybe you need to have a different way of writing the code. So instead of having the code exactly as it is, a different version of the code. So having the theory behind the knowledge is helpful in that case. So it's the same for beauty. Sometimes you can just take exactly what it is and you can see how that applies directly into different forms of art or different works of art. And then other times you can see the theory behind it and notice how that theory behind it applies to different works of art. And there's a little bit more diversity with the beauty as expressed through a theory. So you can listen to a song and notice how certain notes are arranged within that song. And you can have those notes be arranged in one particular song, and it sounds nice. And that exact arrangement of notes can be applied to a different song, and it still sounds nice. That's the beauty being directly transferred. But then you might recognize that the way that the notes are arranged is in accordance to some theory. And instead of using the exact notes in a different song, you reference the theory, or the person who is making the song has referenced the theory. And you can recognize the theory in both of the songs as opposed to the exact instantiation of that theory. In either case, you're recognizing the knowledge, and the knowledge is being imprinted into your mind. This is the beauty that is being replicated into the mind, and that is how you could appreciate it. But of course, there is a bit of a catch. There's always this little fact that you have to be prepared, or you have to know what to pay attention to, right? If you're attempting to get the theory behind a certain arrangement of notes, well, even if you're trying to get the notes, you kind of have to know what to listen for in order to understand what to copy, and in order to understand how to subdivide what the things that are copied into your mind. So to appreciate something, you kind of have to have an awareness of what it is that you're appreciating. The awareness doesn't come, all together all at once. Sometimes your mind just guesses. You just copy it into the mind, and then you kind of have an idea, and then maybe you change the idea over time, but you just have an idea. And maybe the same for the theory. You could just get the theory. You could just copy the entire work into your mind, and then you have the theory underlying, and you have all the problems and solutions to the work of art. But usually you're going to have some prerequisite knowledge, understand the problem that is being, understand the problem that the artist had, or understand what conflicts the artist was thinking about when they were putting things in order. And then you could have a theory come to mind and be replicated within your mind, and such that you can appreciate the beauty of the work of art. That's just been interesting to me, recognizing this. It might be not obvious why that matters, but really there's the understanding of knowing that you can copy a work of art, knowing that you can replicate the beauty within a work of art into your mind. But then also recognizing that the structure of the theory that is causing a particular instantiation of that beauty can also be replicated into the mind, and recognizing that both of those things can be improved. So that's really the most important aspect of this, because the fact that you can appreciate it means that you can also improve it. And the thing that is being appreciated could be applied to other works of art. Um, and the way that you copy a work of art can be improved. What aspects of the work of art that you highlight can be improved. The theories, noticing the theories underlying something can be improved. A lot of times there are theories that underlie a work of art, but they aren't explicit theories. They're inexplicit theories. In both cases, the inexplicit and the explicit theories can be improved by somebody who just appreciates it. So you can learn how to view a work of art and see the theories underlying it, in some cases better than the people who are creating the work of art. And then you might be able to articulate it better, transferring it into explicit theories. In all these cases, beauty can be improved, which is really cool to me. So I find this process of recognizing and just understanding that a work of art and the beauty within the work of art can be replicated into the mind and imprinted onto the mind. That process seems like a deeply important thing for humanity. That's a little too much.